Okay, so today we're going to be finally adding angle to the E36, which I'm going to be installing a Driftworks lock kick, which is really just like a knuckle adapter to give a bunch of angle. But before I do anything, I just want to show you all some goodies that I just picked up for the car. So it was half off at the Junkyard for the 4th of July, so I picked up a bunch of things, which I got some side skirts, which I've actually already installed this side, which you can see the car's looking very rough, but it's getting painted finally, which this is just like the first rough coat to get everything even, and then we'll paint another one over it. And I'm gonna be painting the door handles, everything with like some enamel, so it'll be nice, and also the trim pieces. So this is just rough, and I'm gonna redo the shark teeth and everything, so don't worry about that. Also, I know a lot of you are gonna be happy to hear that I picked up some OEM headlights, which a lot of people actually like these, but they're one-piece design, so it's like they're just cheap lights. Yes, they look kind of cool because of like the tinted yellow and the like angel eyes, but I picked up some OEM ones, which are a lot nicer. I've hated these. They came on the car and they've driven me nuts, just like ever since I've gotten it. I've just wanted to be like swap them out, but I never really wanted to spend the money. But I finally picked some up, which you can see that they're real dirty and just like beat up, but I have some CCFL like angel eyes coming in the mail, so I'm going to install those, and I'm also going to tint the high beams, like pretty much the same thing as the one on the car now. And last but not least, I picked up an X-Brace off a convertible, but I'm actually not going to be using this just because of things you'll see in an upcoming video. Also, please just forgive all the annoying bugs that just constantly make noise outside when the sun goes down. But anyways, that's all the stuff I picked up for the car at the Junkyard, which I know a lot of you are going to say it. Why didn't I pick up a hood? Why didn't I buy a tail light, which the car desperately needs? But those are actually the main things that I went there to get, but sadly they didn't have any. But I ended up buying all the other stuff just to sort of like justify going, and it's a half off day. The car desperately needs to be cleaned up, so I'm working on it to clean it up. But now let's get to work. I'll show you these spacers so we can get to doing something and having some fun. So here's what I'm installing, which is a Driftworks lock kit, which is essentially just like knuckle adapters. Now, a few of you out there may have seen these before, but they're extremely simple. All they are like machined aluminum pieces that connect to like your knuckle and your lower control arm to give you more angle. They're pretty much the same thing as like modified knuckles and how they work and everything, but you don't have to cut, you don't have to weld, you just bolt them on. Now you can see the multiple holes, which this one connects to like your lower control arm, like where it meets the knuckle, and this is like your standard tie rod point where it connects, which you bolt those in, and then you move the tie rod point here, which is farther in and shorter, which just gives you more steering angle. Same thing as modified knuckles again. They're real simple and they're pretty easy to install and should give me a ton of angle. Now, these were actually sent to me a while ago, which I'm just now getting around to installing them. They were sent to me by an awesome guy who has a turbo E36 making like 400 horsepower. It's pretty much essentially what I'm wanting to do with my turbo build. It's really sick. And he also has a YouTube channel, which I'll like edit in a video here, which I'm super grateful. These things are actually pretty expensive. You wouldn't believe how much they go for. I think the Driftworks ones are about $150, which I know 953 Motorsport makes a version of theirs, which is a bit cheaper. It's like $100, which they're all essentially the same. They're just aluminum pieces that relocate the tie rod like placement. They're super simple, but I'm ready to get around to installing it now. I'm sick of listening to these annoying bugs. They're just constantly making noise, so I'm going to pull the car in and finally get to installing these. Okay, so a thunderstorm rolled through, so it might be hard to hear me, but before I get to work, I'm just going to go over what I'm doing. So obviously I'm installing the little like adapter things here. You can see the tie rod and then the other bolts back there. But since I'm shortening like how far the tie rods come out, I actually have to chop the inner tie rods out about 10-15 millimeters and just shorten them up, otherwise it's not going to work. I'm going to have a lot of toe out, which I should have a ton of angle once I finish this, because I already have steering rack spacers which add quite a bit of angle, and I have 4 millimeters on each side, which I'm going to just add a couple more and have 5. But that's pretty much it. I'll get to work now, and you can see the garage is a mess, and there's my whole front end if you're wondering. And also, since you're watching, I'll give you a little sneak peek of the fender flares I'm about to throw on. Okay, so last night I ended up running into a ton of problems. I got really frustrated, so I decided to just put it off until today, which now I'm going to get back to it. But before I do anything, I'll just go over everything that was just going wrong. I was just genuinely just frustrated and sick of messing with the car. So the first issue I came across was a power steering leak, which I mentioned in the last video. I thought it was probably like a hose or something, but it's actually leaking out of the rubber steering boost, which just means the seals and like the steering rack have gone bad. Which I'm just going to try and use some like Lucas stop leak. I've heard a lot of good things about it, which is supposed to like make seals and stuff swell, which like stops the leaks, and a lot of people swear by it, which I know it's more of like a temporary fix, but I'm just going to try it. I have nothing really to lose. The rack is bad. If it fixes it, it fixes it. I can drive it for a while before I get a new one, but steering racks are expensive, so I'm trying to push that off as long as I can. But moving on, other than the leaky power steering rack, I came across an issue with the like tie rods, which the inner and outer are just pretty much like rust welded together. It's just completely seized, which I tried using the like standard size you're supposed to use for the adjustment, and it just ended up just rounding it off. So then I hammered on a smaller size, which that also didn't work. So what I ended up doing was taking the pipe wrench and just using it on the round portion, which that got it to like break loose, but it never really gave all the way. So it's still like a lot of resistance just to get it to twist the slightest bit. But I'm just going to try and just work it off so I can get it to work, and I'm just going to buy like a new inner and outer tie rod setup at a later date. And I really want to get the car aligned because it's way out and it's desperately overdue for that. And the tie rod, power steering rack, those are just small things I can work around that. It's no biggie, but I actually sat for like 30 minutes trying to figure out how these things went on. There's no instructions, you can't really find any online. And they're simple, so I'm like, yeah, no problem, they're self-explanatory, but I sit there, it was like a puzzle to me, which I finally figured out, but I'm gonna show you how it is now. Okay, so here is the like lock adapter thing, which your first thought is to sort of like put it on the bottom, because if you put it on the top, it'll hit the strut, which attaches right there. It's just wouldn't clear. So you put it on the bottom and it fits absolutely perfect, but this is nowhere near long enough. If you put that on and then attach the knuckle, like the knuckle comes out to here, there's no threads to attach it, so it doesn't work. So then, you know, I just try and like maybe go to the top somehow, which it just doesn't really work at all, and it's gonna hit the strut. So I'm just like, I don't know what to do, which I try and put the tie rod, which is supposed to go in this hole, and I put it through there just to see, which you can see, it just doesn't go through it at all. And this is just like a straight hole drilled all the way through, and the other ones are tapered. So I get pretty frustrated. I'm like, I don't know how it goes, which I mean, I'm sort of like overreacting to this, but it's no problem. Which I go in, I look up some photos and stuff, and eventually I come back and figure out that it's actually supposed to be the other side, which I have laying around here somewhere. Which this one goes, you flip it over like that, and this hole is actually just slightly tapered, which you can't even really see it when you look at it. It just looks straight through, but it's tapered. So when you put it on there, it clears the strut, and you can put the tie rod all the way through it, and you can put your bolt on. It's just for anybody out there. I know I've seen a lot of people have trouble with these, like I've seen them on like Facebook posts and stuff where they just can't figure out how it goes. So if you get one of these, Driftworks face down, and it goes like this. But now I'll get back to work. I need to pull that tie rod out, and I've got to chop off, I believe, 10 to 15 millimeters off each side, which I think I'm just going to do like 5/8 of an inch. That should be like right in the middle between those two, and then install it, put wheels on, and then go add it Now, I'm actually going to be installing some old burners that I have with the smaller tires. The big ones I know for a fact are going to like just rub everything. So I'm going to put the smaller ones on, and I'm actually going to pick up some wheels off Craigslist, hopefully Tuesday, which this is Sunday night that I'm recording now. So a few days, which I'm going to have a bunch of burners. They're all the right size. And I'm going to take all of these 225s and hopefully hit up a drift event as soon as I get the car legal, which I'm getting paid Thursday. I'm ordering taillights and then hopefully getting it inspected this weekend.
Years later.
Alright, so I finished everything up. The car's back drivable again, but it took way too long. I ended up doing a bunch of stuff, busy with work, and I moved into my new place yesterday, which I'm still moving into, so it took way too long. And since it took so long, a lot has changed otherwise on the car, parts coming in and stuff, which I'll go over all of that just real briefly, and then I'll actually show you the new angle, and I'll take the car out and drift, just do some stuff like that. Now, first and foremost, I know a lot of you are going to be happy to see this, but I bought some new taillights, which I ended up going with the clears just because I thought it was like more OEM, a bit more classy, which now I can finally get the car legal again, because if you look at my tags, it's about 2 months, 3 months out of date now, so I got to get the thing inspected, which I ended up having to get like a taillight. I need a taillight and just a few other things, but now that's pretty much handled. But other than that, I did end up picking up those wheels I talked about earlier. I got a set of 5 of them, which they're all like these in one steel, which all the tires are practically brand new except the 2 that I'm putting on the rear, which are slightly worn, but the tread is really good on the inside, so it'll get quite a bit of life out of it. But other than that, I picked up some wheels from Mikey, which I know they look exactly the same. They're 16-inch versions of the Style 5s, which I had 15 before, which these are an inch bigger, and they're also an inch wider, so they just fit a lot better. And I got the proper size tires for the front too, so there's a bit of a stretch, which I'm not a fan of, but they're not those balloon tires that I had on before. Which, now that I picked up all those wheels and tires, I have a ton of them for the next drift event. I believe I have like 9 or 10 like fresh tires good to go, so plenty of skidding will be underway. As soon as I get the car legal, I'm going to drive to Mikey's, do some drifting with him back home, just out of this Greenville area, all the traffic, campus, all that. It's just no good. But now we'll finally see how much angle I added, which I ended up having to do a lot of modifications, which I'll talk about afterwards, but now I'm just going to show you so you can see the before and after. Okay, so here's the angle, which it added a ton. I also added in just a millimeter's worth of rack spacers on each side, but here you can see just how much it is. Now, it might not look like a crazy amount on camera. It's definitely not like wise fab or anything of that nature, but you can see just how far inward this tire is, which is actually hitting the frame just there. So what I'm gonna have to do is just add camber, get some lower control arms, and I might even just sledgehammer this, just dent it in a little bit. You can see my frame's all crumpled up, so it doesn't even really matter that much. But it added a bunch, and we'll go to the other side now. I'll wait for it to focus. So here you can see the added just adapter here and the tie rod, which I had to shorten about 2 inches or so. It was a lot of work. But here's the other angle, and you can see it's sticking out quite a lot. It's a healthy amount of angle, definitely just for some cheap adapters, which I've actually seen on eBay lately for like $70. And you can see it's definitely a lot, and it doesn't rub too bad. I need to just sort out the control arms or something like that. But now I'll talk about the tie rod issue I was running into. Now on their website it says if you have stock control arms, just stock tie rods and everything, you need to cut and shorten yours by about 10 to 15 millimeters. So I had to shorten mine, which I cut about, I think 13 millimeters, 12, somewhere just about there. I think I did 5/8 of an inch, which it was not enough. I ended up having to chop the inner and outer tie rod, just keep shortening it. Like, I think I went back and forth like 4 different times just to get it to work, and I just gave the car like an eyeball alignment for now, which I'm going to get a proper one, but it's quite a bit of work. If you're going to just do it, I would suggest chopping probably about 1.5 inches. Start with 1 inch, move up to 1.5 inches just to do it. Just know that if you're going to install these, you're going to be doing a lot of work with the grinder, get the tie rods and work. But now I know you all want to see me drift, which the car is illegal, so I don't really want to drive it around. I'm still handling that like misdemeanor, careless and reckless stuff, so I can't really afford to get another ticket. But I will drive the car around the neighborhood, warm it up, drift the entrance, and I might go to a parking lot or two. I don't know, I just know you want to see this thing in action after sitting through this whole video. Okay, so I didn't even really get to drive the car, let alone drift it. I did that one skid, and really as soon as I pulled the car out of the garage, you could just tell there was a bunch of little issues, which I'll just go over them all. The car is by no means driftable, and it's just small stuff that I'll work out, but it sucks that I didn't get to go out and just show you all the new angle, but I'll do it in a new video very soon. So as soon as I pulled out and started turning the wheels, it just started rubbing absolutely everywhere, which here you can see I parked the car with pretty much full lock, and see here, it's not even hitting the frame on this side, and I cut the fenders out so it's not rubbing here, but on the back sides, like on this one, it's rubbing all across the back. So I have to raise the car. It's not that big of a problem, but it definitely has to be raised. It's causing the steering to bind up and everything. It's not working at this ride height. But that's not even the main issue. That's just a simple fix of raising the car up and I'll be good to go. But there was actually a really bad vibration, not extremely bad, but it was definitely really noticeable. It did not feel right. I was worried about something in the suspension, which I was already really wary, I don't know how to say that word, but because of the driver's side wheel here, it actually flew off of Mikey's car, so I was really like nervous about it because I was wondering why I did it, which I looked at everything and I found out why. So the first thing I did was just jack the car up and pull the wheels off and just go through all the suspension stuff that I worked on to make sure everything was tightened down properly, nothing had gotten loose. And I kind of thought it was my alignment because it would only do it once I got like above 30 miles an hour per se, which I just gave it an eyeball alignment just to get it drivable. So I was figuring it might be that, but I definitely wanted to check because I was nervous about this wheel, which I put it back on and just spun both of them just to see like if they were bent or lopsided or anything like that. And what I noticed is it's going to be hard to tell, but the wheels are not tightened down evenly. Now 5 series, 7 series wheels, they have a slightly larger like center bore than 3 series, so it's just a little bit bigger, and normally it's not a problem, but I guess with these large spacers it's just really crucial. It needs hub-centric rings, so they didn't tighten evenly, which is probably why it flew off of Mikey's car. They just wobbled and got like loosened the lug nuts up until it flew off. So I ordered some hub-centric rings. They should be here like this week in a few days, so I'm gonna throw that on and I should be good to go. But that's pretty much it, which I'm definitely going to be testing this out very soon. It sucks I wasn't able to do it last night, but I got to fix these small issues and I'm going to get the car just drift ready. I'm going to hit the next drift event, which is actually going to be a while for now. I think it's actually about like 3 weeks or so, which really sucks, but I am going to get the car legal, which is also why I bought all like the tail lights and everything. I'm just trying to clean the car up so I can get it legal, put a hood on, and it should be good. And also, I definitely want to talk about this, the turbo build. I know all of you are asking, and I owe it to all of you. A lot of you really like helped out and stuff, so I owe it to you guys to like get my shit together and get this thing rolling. Now I just moved into the place, which is sort of putting the car on hold, and also just the stupid like not emissions test, the inspection. I can't put a turbo on before I get the car inspected. Now it might be a couple weeks before I actually put parts on, but I'm ordering a manifold tonight, and then after that I believe I just need a drain, Vanos like feed adapter thing, just small things like that, and I'll be able to start. Now for the series, I'm going to do everything in depth so that anybody could do it from scratch, even those who don't really know much, because I don't know much. It's going to be step by step. And to start off, I'm just going to hook up the manifold, the turbo, lines, everything, get the car running with the turbo, but no charge pipes will be hooked up, so no boost is getting to the motor. And then I'm going to get the car running, work out the kinks, and while that's doing that, I'm running out of breath here, I talk too much. But I'm going to send that war chip off to get repaired at a local computer shop, and then put it on, hook up the pipes, and it should be good to go. I'm probably going to run maybe 5 psi or so, and I also want to buy a wideband to see if the car is leaning out or rich or whatever, and just adjust my tunes accordingly. But that's pretty much it. I'm tired of talking, I'm tired of being out in the heat, so I just want to get in. But let me know what you all think, and obviously if you have any questions about anything like the spacers or the adapters, how they work or anything, just let me know. I'll try to answer the best of my ability. But stay tuned, I'm trying to get my shit together, put up videos. I know I've been slacking a lot lately. I'm trying. I've been busy, college, life sucks sometimes. But as always, stay tuned, and until then.